in a hat?
Yeah, it's not the topic of this event, but I may be my only opportunity to ask you this question. You made a tweet regarding DAOs in the memecoin ecosystem, and I'm waiting to develop your vision about what they can bring and how benefic can they be to the ecosystem.
What benefit DAOs can be, sorry, to the memecoin ecosystem?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I mean, so I think, okay, so here's my, like my view on, like the whole like meme coin, like topic in general, right? So like, first of all, I'm not against people having fun, right? And I'm actually, I think people, like having fun is great. Like, how can I be anti-meme coin when I personally still hold millions of Doge, right? So like the thing that I'm against are like basically, like things that are low effort and and things that are kind of fundamentally uninteresting and extractive, right? So here's like an example of like the thing that I'm worried about happening, right? So who here has watched Star Wars Episode 7? Who here thinks Star Wars Episode 7 deserves to exist? See, fewer hands, right? So how do we like explain Star Wars Episode 7 from a game theory perspective, right? And it's like pretty simple, right? It's basically social capital consumption, right? What you have is, you have this thing called Star Wars, and you have like a bunch of, like brilliant people that made a whole bunch of episodes. I mean, I personally even thought Episode 1 was fine, right? And like basically build up all of this goodwill, right? But the problem with like goodwill is that it's this kind of asset, but it's like not a very like liquid asset, right? It's like you can't like take goodwill and then like use it to like buy like Lamborghinis and like expensive parties in Miami, right? And so what you want to do instead is like, okay, you have this like goodwill, which isn't a liquid asset, and then you want to like convert it into a liquid asset, which is money, right? And so what you do is like, okay, you make a new episode, and like you don't like inevitably don't do a very good job on it, but then you still use the branding and you get money. And like it might seem like, okay, you're burning your brand, you're losing a lot of reputation, but like the reality is that's the point. You're converting the illiquid thing into the liquid thing because like you want to have the parties in Miami, right? So like basically, like I think the thing that I don't want to see is like basically that kind of like social capital consumption that I think, it doesn't even happen just in meme coins. It happens in a lot of places, right? It's like people who have reputations and then they feel the need to monetize them more and then they just go and create coins, right? So the thing that I want to see is projects that have like a couple of different properties, right? So first, I think they should try to like actually be more interesting than just like you buying a coin and like the coin going up, right? Second, I think ideally these things should like actually try to be good for the world in some way, right? And I think you can actually like combine those two aspects, right? You could have like, for example, a DAO that might like choose, which charitable projects to fund in a particular range, and like this would be something that's like actually engaging that people really wants to participate in. And three is like it needs to be sustainable, right? Like basically, like I want to see more projects where there's like a clear story for why they'll still exist 10 years from now, right? And like I think actually, Dogecoin is like an existential proof that like you could literally have a meme coin that lives for a decade, right? And so basically, one of the challenges that like, I actually think this issue goes a bit beyond that, right? Basically, one of the challenges is like a lot of the mechanisms that we have in the crypto space are like very short-termy, right? So like airdrops, for example, right? So airdrops, you get people a lot of goodwill, and you build this community, you generate some good vibes, but then 5 years later, like who here remembers that Uniswap had an airdrop? Sure. Okay, some people. Okay, more than I thought. That's good, right? But like, you know, basically it's like, you know, is the value, like even to you, the project of like having something like that, it's like much less lasting than it could be, right? And so like basically the problem is like, if you do something like an airdrop, then like on day one, it's like, oh, amazing, we're supporting the community, yay, good vibes. Okay, I mean, sometimes you actually have like bad vibes because you have like random shills who, you know, like think they deserve to have the airdrop but didn't get it. You know, but then the problem is that like 5 or 10 years later, the project just kind of regresses into, you know, like, oh, this is just a project that's controlled by, you know, the elites of the previous generation, and like we, the new kids, want to do something else, right? And what I want to see is like projects that somehow give the new kids an ability to like actually participate in existing projects, right? And so I think maybe airdrops should not be one time. Like, I think maybe you should have like sophisticated issuance events as something that even happens like regularly once every couple of years, right? This is one of the things that I think like optimism retro funding does right? You're like, you know, you just keep having more of these retro rounds, and this just keeps being a thing where new people can come in and potentially, you know, like get a share of the funds, right? So, basically, like I think this is one of those reasons why like I want to have more DAOs, right? Because like you want to have you know, like not just like if you have a static currency, then like the entire like live playerness of the community is like entirely front loaded on day one, right? It's like the only live action that you can take is launch the coin and then like have a supply allocation and use the initial supply, right? What we want is you want a system where like the live playerness of the ecosystem, the ability of the ecosystem to like go in new directions and like have new collective adventures, be something that continues to exist 3 years, 10 years, 30 years into the future, right? So like that's also some of the kind of stuff that I wants to see more of.
So basically, your favorite meme coin is Dogecoin. Just kidding.
Well, I guess I'm also advocating that Dogecoin should like make a 2.0 version of itself. That like I mean, obviously it should switch to proof of stake, but then you know, like actually, oh wait, okay, I just realized like I've like literally been suggesting to them already that they do this. Like basically, the thing that I suggested is like switch to proof of stake. With proof of stake, you could have lower issuance, and then they should basically have half the issuance actually be distributed via DAO to like some kind of charity projects that Dogecoin holders vote on, right?
Nice.
And so then like you actually have like an ongoing thing that like makes Dogecoin, you know, like an interesting ongoing story that can renew itself.